the straight shooter recruiter. Y'all, it's no longer 2020. The year from actual hell is over. And I know that all of our issues aren't just going to magically disappear now that it's 2021, but a girl can manifest, okay? I am so excited to be back hanging out with you guys on a topic you know I'm so passionate about. It is networking. So today we are going to talk about how to have an amazing career conversation, one that is going to get you your dream job, help you land a mentor, and really take your career to the next level. So let's dive right on into it. Now, in my last video, we were talking all about how to identify a mentor. And one of the key things that I spoke about is how to actually have conversations that are going to help you solidify a mentor, but also just expand your network. Now, you're probably wondering, why do you need to watch a whole YouTube video to figure out how to have a career conversation? Isn't it the exact same thing as any other kind of conversation? And for me, the answer is no. Because in the corporate world or in any industry that you're looking to grow in, every conversation that you have is basically an interview. If you leave an amazing first impression on someone, or on the flip side of that, a really bad, I never want to work with this person kind of impression.
But all I can say is no, 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 no. That was horrible.
It's a game changer. So if you have a really well-structured and well-thought-out career conversation with someone, you are setting yourself up for success, not only to get referred for jobs, but to grow your network and also hopefully find yourself a mentor. When it comes to career chats, I've kind of done it all and seen it all, so I can tell you explicitly what works and what doesn't. I'm about to walk you through, honestly, the perfect formula for how to have a good career chat. Let's get into it. So the tips I'm about to give you are good for any career stage. If you're starting out looking for your first internship, if you're in high school, or if you're well into your career, I promise these are tried and true. Before we can start talking about what you need to prepare for the conversation, you need to do a little bit of research. So there's two things that you need to do. The first is you need to get really crisp about what your goals are. And I talked about this in my other video. I'll leave the card somewhere here. I don't know how this works. You'll see a card somewhere. But you need to figure out what you're trying to accomplish. Are you networking with this person to get a better sense of how they grew in their field? Are you networking with them to learn more about their company? What are you trying to gain from this conversation? And the reason that's important is when you start to prepare questions to ask, you're going to make sure that it's always driving back to what your key goals are and what your key accomplishments are. Next thing you need to do is cyber stalk them. Like literally creep their LinkedIn like it's your day job. I want you to actually make notes on this person. I want you to go to their LinkedIn profile, see what school they went to, what their career path was, and start to have really specific points you want to learn more about. Some amazing things you can call out are, did they switch majors? Did they go to a school that you're familiar with or a program that you're familiar with? How did they transition from, company A to company B? How did they get promoted so quickly? So now that you've creeped this person's LinkedIn and you're really crisp and clear about what your goals are, we're actually going to put together an agenda. Now, don't let this freak you out. It doesn't mean you need to stick to this perfectly. It doesn't mean you're going to be reading off of a script. We're literally just using this agenda to make sure that you stay on track with timing and that you're actually having enough structure that it sounds like you put some effort into this conversation, okay? This is not the same as a first date. In my ever so humble opinion, I believe the perfect amount of time for a career conversation is 30 minutes. A little bit less is honestly not enough time to get to know the person, and anything more is just asking for a lot. You're going to spend the first couple of minutes on small talk. And I know that that sounds ridiculous that you need to pencil in or schedule small talk, but so many people pick up the phone and cut right to business. And yeah, it's great that you're eager and wanting to learn, but the point of a career conversation is not only to help educate you or guide you in your career, but it's to build a meaningful connection. And you can't do that if you cut to business every single time. So if you're awkward like me, I actually prepare some small talk questions. I might ask what they did over the weekend, how their holidays were, how they've been keeping busy during COVID. So make sure you have a couple of small talk questions ready to go just to break the ice a little bit. After you've exchanged some pleasantries, it's time to dive right in. And I personally find the transition from small talk into the real conversation a little bit awkward, so here's what I do. After you've had that little bit of small talk, I start off with a thank you. I say, anyways, thank you so much for taking the time to connect with me. I'm really looking forward to it. I'd love to kind of dive in and tell you a little bit more about me. And that's where you're going to use a couple of sentences, a bit of an introduction, so to speak, on who you are, what you're looking to accomplish and what your goals are. If you need help with how to frame that introduction, I've got a whole video on that too. I'll put the key card all up in here somewhere. After you've introduced yourself, it's their turn. Remember, the entire point of this conversation is to learn more about their journey. So you're going to say, that's a little bit about me, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about you and perhaps a little bit more about your career journey. I love, love, love using the word career journey. The reason for that is if you say, I'd love to learn more about your current job, or I'd love to learn more about your schooling, you're only going to get information about that sliver of their life and their personality. When you say the word journey, they are going to tell you everything they think is significant. And it might be something that surprises you. There might have been a life experience you wouldn't have been told about otherwise. Once you've walked down memory lane with them, they've probably spent a couple of minutes sharing how they got to where they are. It's time for you to ask some questions. And this is where a lot of people kind of like crap the bed. They'll either say,
okay, yeah, that's great. So tell me how I can get referred for a job here. Okay, yeah, that's cool. So do you have any questions for me?
wrong. What you're going to do is ask them questions. Remember, before your conversation, you prepared some questions based off of their LinkedIn. It's really critical that you're actively listening. When they're sharing a little bit about their career journey, what they've been through, what they've learned, you should have some questions ready to go based off of what they're saying. For example, if they said they started at, PepsiCo as a coordinator, maybe you should ask a question about how they got that job, what skills they picked up. Maybe if they recently started a new project in their current role, you can ask them more about that. So actually use the information that they're sharing to ask those follow-up questions. If you're feeling a little bit nervous, maybe you don't exactly know what to ask after they shared their introduction, you have a backup plan. You can say, I noticed you studied business here. I'd love to hear more about why that was. I saw that you got promoted from, junior analyst to senior analyst in less than a year. I'd love to know about what skills you picked up. And that is really where the conversation is going to blossom. And honestly, that's going to be the bulk of your conversation. They're going to give you information, you'll ask follow-up questions, or you'll move on to one of your pre-prepared questions if you need to keep the conversation going. The most important thing is how you wrap up this conversation, because career chats are wonderful, but to be honest, if you don't follow up and maintain this relationship, they're not going to take you anywhere. These are just going to be one-off conversations that don't help your career.
Closing time.
You guys remember that song? I hate that I just did that. Anyways, okay, when you've got about 5 minutes left in your career conversation, it's time to wrap this baby up, okay? And here's how we're gonna do it. You're gonna start off by saying thank you. You're gonna thank them for their time. You're going to be extremely grateful because they did take a significant amount of time out of their day just to have a conversation. So please make sure you thank them. And then what you're going to do is a game changer. You're going to say, do you have any feedback for me after this conversation? Do you know how significant that is? They are either going to say, no, I think you were fantastic, and then in the back of their minds be like, they're bold, I like this, or they're gonna give you really valuable feedback that's actually gonna make you better in terms of your job search. In addition to that, one of the best things that you can do to continue growing your network is say, is there anyone else in your network you think I should connect with? Another amazing question. Chances are they're gonna say, yeah, actually my friend at this company or my colleague at this company would love to have a conversation with you. Why don't I set up a coffee for you too? And that's how your network keeps growing. And the reason this is brilliant is you need a network of people advocating for you at a variety of companies. I've said it a million times, but up to 85% of jobs are filled through referrals. And you're only gonna get referred when you actually have a network of people who know you. Career conversations can be really awkward and uncomfortable, but when you follow this agenda, it helps eliminate a little bit of the ad lib or small talk and basically all the areas where it's easy to get awkward and a little bit nervous. Having a structure will help alleviate some of the anxiety, some of those nerves, and hopefully make this a little bit easier for you. If you found this video helpful at all, even a little bit, I'm gonna need you to subscribe and maybe leave a little comment down there, maybe turn on that notification bell. I put so much love into these videos, guys, so if they're helpful, let me know. And if you want more career content, I've got a lot, okay? I've got a podcast also called The Straight Shooter Recruiter and an Instagram at emily.b.recruiter for all kinds of career content. So make sure that you check that out. Have an amazing new year. I love you lots, and I will talk to you next week.